we're going to be going over everything that you need to know about jungling. So if you're looking to score some wins, you came to the right place. So starting off, let me put it this way. Junglers are basically the babysitters of the team, tasked with getting their laners ahead and guiding the overall strategy of the team. Throughout the game, the jungler constantly has to decide who is getting resources and who is left alone. Junglers are the catalyst for any action in the early game and are one of the most impactful members of the team overall. Junglers reside in, no joke, the jungle, roaming from lane to lane in the early game and taking camps in between. The primary objective of the jungler is to snowball the game by ganking their lanes, and getting them ahead enough so that they can carry. Junglers are also responsible for taking major objectives like the Dragon and Rift Herald, and also defending laners when they're in need of help. Smite is the summoner spell that every jungler needs to take, no joke. For those who are unaware, Smite is a unit-targeted summoner spell that deals true damage to monsters and minions. This spell is essential to take as a jungler because it'll help you clear early camps and secure big objectives like the Baron during the late game. If you want to carry the responsibility of making sure the game goes well and your laners are cared for, and you also want to flex your strategic knowledge and split-second reaction timing, then jungling is for you. Even if jungle doesn't call to you, I think you should still give it a try. Jungling will teach you a lot about macro play, so make sure to try it out at least once. And with that being said, let's go over our question of the day. What champion in the jungle have you found success with so far? Personally, I love Vi because her ultimate, point and click, really hard to mess up, but let us know yours in the comments below. In League of Legends, pathing between your camps correctly is extremely important, but in Wild Rift, it's actually not as crucial. Most of the camps are pretty easy to clear for most champions, but champions with strong area of effects, or AoE abilities, will have an easier time clearing Raptors specifically. Now you might be thinking, how do I pick where to start my clear? If you're familiar with League of Legends, you will know that mana-hungry champions typically start at blue, while everyone else just starts at red. When you're playing Wild Rift though, you don't need to stress so much over pathing. Most junglers can clear the camps with relative ease, and both sides of the jungle are simple and easy to clear. You'll usually want to start at the side opposite to the side that you'll be ganking early. We'll go over ganks and how to decide where to gank later in the video though. The best part about being a jungler is that every game is different. You have to think about your own jungle matchup, your laners matchups, who needs help, who can carry the game, which camps to clear and win, what objectives to take, and just in general weaving all of these things together into a victory. There's endless things to learn when you're playing a jungler, and every game wildly differs from the last. The variety in jungling keeps the role exciting and fresh, but don't worry if it's a daunting amount of responsibility at first. Just jump into it and start learning. I promise, it'll come quicker to you than you think. So first, we're going to go over the different types of ganks. Then we'll go over how to decide when to do them. To gank a lane is to sneak up on your opponents and attack them with your numbers advantage, hopefully killing them or at least forcing them to use summoner spells and lose HP. There are three main types of ganks: river ganks, lane ganks, and dives. River ganks are pretty self-explanatory, but they're also the most common type of gank. You ideally want to come from river when the enemy laner is overextended and pushing past the middle point of their lane. A trick I like to use is to always try and walk at an angle to cut them off from their tower rather than walking straight at them. This way, they won't have a path to escape and it will guarantee many more kills for you over time. Lane ganks are when you sneak into the bushes alongside the lane when they can't see you. This type of gank is actually best when your laner is pushed to tower so you can sneak in out of sight of the minion wave, and then when the minion wave meets back in the middle, you provide a chance to jump out on the enemy laner. These ganks are particularly good when the person you're trying to gank doesn't have an escape tool, and is especially effective when their flash is already down. Another tip I have for all types of ganks is to try and get as close to the enemy champion before using your skill shots. It's far easier to hit them up close because there's less travel time for the ability, and they're going to be way harder to dodge that way. The last type of gank is the dive. These aren't too common until around Platinum and above, so add these to your gameplay last. In dives, you're not sneaking up on them, but rather just force pushing a dive under their tower. This is best when your laner is constantly pushing waves in and has also chunked out the enemy laner already. This is one of the most punishing plays you can make because not only do you get the kill gold, but the laner that gets dove loses out on an entire wave or two of minions. So, now that you know what type of ganks you have in your toolkit, let's go over how to use them. As soon as all of your champions are locked in, you can start to plan for the entire early game. Sometimes you will have to adapt this plan, but it's good to start making it as soon as you can. First, think about what side you're on. That'll dictate your first few camps. Next, start to think about what opportunities you'll have inside of the game. Think about what tools your character has to gank. Do you have hard CC? Do you have slows? Or do you just provide damage? Look at what your laners can provide to the gank as well, and also look at the enemy team's escape tools. If the enemy dragon lane has an Ezreal with his arcane shift ability, it might not be worth ganking. If the enemy Baron laner has Fiora, only look to gank her once she's already used her riposte. Every champion has different tools to set up and avoid ganks, and you'll have to assess these on the fly. Next up, you should consider which champions will carry the game. For most of your games, helping your mid laner is often the best bang for your buck because you'll enable them to roam around and dominate the map with you. However, certain champions are worth prioritizing. If your Ezreal and Camille are both calling for ganks, we know that Ezreal can lane safely, and Camille becomes incredibly strong when she has resources, and is kinda weak when she doesn't. So in this instance, we should pick the Camille lane to help. Sometimes you'll have to pick between being offensive and being defensive. If a powerful scaling champion like Nasus has been chunked out, he's probably going to get dove. You should treat this as a #1 priority. Making sure the enemy team can't shut down your champions is often more important than creating your own advantages. However, if you can create a larger advantage on a better champion, sometimes you'll have to sacrifice a teammate. That's just jungling. Junglers have to make countless big picture decisions every single game, so don't shy away from it, embrace it, and lead your team to victory. Smite is a powerful summoner spell for clearing and securing objectives, and we're going to go through some tips for general usage and Smite fights. First up, you should aim to only smite camps to secure them in most situations. If you're clearing and you smite your camp early, only to have the enemy jungler come in at the last second and barely seal it away with their smite, you're going to be really far behind since you wasted a lot of time doing that. It feels awful to have this happen, so to safeguard yourself against this, make sure if you're smiting a camp, it's to secure it. The only time you should really break this rule is when your champion has execute damage, which means you can smite early to clear faster. This is dangerous and should only be done when you know you're in a safe position, so make sure to place your wards down first. Once you've transformed your smite into chilling or challenging smite, you should look to conserve it unless you're looking to recall soon. You can still use it for clearing, but it's important to have it in order to secure objectives, and it's also a powerful combat spell. Chilling Smite can help you catch up to enemies and secure kills, and Challenging Smite is vital for reducing incoming DPS or during duels. It's absolutely vital to have at least one charge available when you're taking fights, and it's advisable to have two so you can secure an objective afterward if you win the fight. Now, you might be thinking, there's so many things to keep in mind, so how do I do it all? Well, I'm here to break it down for you. Everything inside of the enemy base is extremely high priority, as a downed inhibitor or Nexus Towers can lead to other objectives or even a possible push to end. Elder Dragon allows you to steamroll any fights you take, and while Baron is a powerful siege tool, it's very easy for the team with Elder to just force a team fight against the Baron team and make them leave. Every game is different, and there will always be different priorities. In games where you have a split pusher, taking Baron is crazy good because they'll just start knocking down towers like a battering ram. In games where you have a lot of engage though, grouping up to take towers is better because the enemy team has less safe space to stand in and you can stick together. Don't be afraid to test things out and see what works for you. Before we wrap it up, I've got some champion recommendations to help you learn about jungling. First up, Jarvan IV. He's a classic bruiser who likes to dive and has strong crowd control abilities and initiation. Perfect for setting up combos with his team. Jarvan likes to be really active, ganking with his flag and drag to secure advantages for his team as early as level 2. Pick him up if you want to set your team up for success. Next is Master Yi. Master Yi is a farming melee hyper carry who's known for cleaning up entire team fights. Yi is perfect for anyone looking to farm and scale to late game. His speedy clear and strong dueling make him a force to be reckoned with in the mid game as well. Learning Master Yi will teach you patience and efficiency, so make sure to give him a go. Last off, we have Xin Zhao, an aggressive counter jungler who loves to get up in the face of anyone who contests him. Xin wants to be looking to fight the enemy jungler at literally every second of the game, and has the tools to send them back to the fountain. Between his dash, auto attack resets on Q, and huge damage on his W, make sure to be taking every opportunity to scrap. You'll surely come out on top. And that wraps up the basics for jungling on the Wild Rift. Don't worry too much if this is a lot of information. You can come back later and watch again, and you'll definitely learn quickly just by playing. Just keep your chin up, and I'm sure you'll get the hang of it soon. Well, that's going to be it for the video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and also hit that bell notification because we've got plenty more content coming your way.